Hey guys, it's Eric, your host of Muscle Cars with Eric, and I got my buddy Richie Cucharo here. And we normally do an episode, Cars and Cigars, but today we're just going to be talking about cars because last week, wasn't it last week already?
Yes.
Barrett Jackson.
Amazing.
Holy crap, I mean, that was, right? Amazing. It's an event. It's not just a car auction, because obviously there's other car auction houses out there.
No,
but Barrett Jackson Scottsdale is...
It's an event. Mm-hmm. It's a social event. It's a state event.
Celebration of
it's amazing
capitalism.
Amazing commerce. I mean, I think the Scottsdale airport, they have to jockey all the private jets. There's no room for them coming into town.
Isn't it amazing?
And I think the numbers are, I think, I could be wrong, I think it was $208 million worth of cars got sold, 1,900 of them, I believe, all at no reserve. There wasn't a reserve listing at the auction.
And the memorabilia sales went through the roof.
Memorabilia was another 8, I think.
It's like crazy. These people are spending $50,000 on a mobile neon sign. I mean, you know, the neon sign is the size of the garage, but...
And you wonder how many people, when you go through, if you've never been, you really owe it to yourself to go, but when you walk through the main concourse, you'll go past car manufacturers are there showing their new cars, and then you'll get to an area where the roped off the zillion-dollar cars are, but then there's an area of all vendors, some of them local, some of them national.
What do they call that? The Barrett Jackson Marketplace.
And there was, you know, not only one helicopter company, there were 2.
Right.
All right. So
you had your boats, your catamarans, your wakeboards.
So, but the helicopter, you know, just in case, you know, you got your $50,000 mobile oil sign and you wanted a helicopter to go along with it for $2.1 million, it was there for you.
There you go, and all these diamond jewelry and stuff. But then they had these cars, and what is it, 1,900, 2,000 cars?
19, I think it was 1,900, but you had Dave Kindig, you had McGuire's Waxes there.
Adams Polishes.
So it's a really great event.
There was this really cool Mustang. I don't know if you saw it, but it was this candy apple red, if you will, or burgundy color called the Asira. And it was all hand-laid carbon fiber on a 2017 Mustang. I shot a video of it, and the name of the manufacturer is called Asira, and only 3 body panels in that entire car that were actual original Mustang body panels. Everything else is hand-laid carbon fiber, and you know, I had a chance to interview the guy, and they took that car and turned it into 950 horsepower. Amazing cold start video, you guys love this, but the car was off the chain, really freaking crazy cool. And then they had, like, you know, you mentioned to me you saw some cars which are going, like, what was the name of that car you had? An Aston Martin.
Well, I had
that went really cheap.
Well, I had it. It was the same. I had a 2006 Aston Martin Vantage V8, great car, manual car, make them in automatics. And there was, lo and behold, you know, a 2006 Aston Martin there, and I sent you a picture of it because I'd never seen a red car, red Aston Martin. It was red.
You know, gray and silver and
blue,
it
was beautiful, and the selling price was $35,000, and I said, wow. I said, you know, I didn't understand it, but then when you go to Barrett Jackson, in the window is pretty much a descriptor of every kind of pertinent part of information about each car. And the last sentence on this one was that the Carfax had two accidents.
Well, then that could very well deteriorate.
And the hood, the gap in the hood from the cowl was kind of, but for $35,000, you know, and I mean, there wasn't even a wrinkle in the bolster on the driver's seat, and that's a big deal because that's usually the first thing to get kind of crunchy.
Because you get, you know,
but there was
farting in the seat once in a while, you know.
The analogy is that we saw $1 million stuff, multi-million-dollar stuff. But then you go down the line, and I saw, and I mentioned this to you, I think it was a '63 Impala. It was white, it was a super sport, it was a rotisserie restoration, absolutely pristine, 4-speed car. Didn't have the original engine. Usually those things have 409s or 327s. But somebody had transplanted a 454 Chevy engine in it. It was absolutely mint condition. What did it sell for? $25,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A very happy buyer. I'm sure kind of a dismayed seller. All right, but it's no reserve, so it's where the chips fall.
And speaking of where the chips fall, I had a chance. We were there, shot a little video here of us before the auction started. We had a chance to get there because we had media credentials, of course, and we were watching them offload their vehicles. And so I was back in the area where they're offloading their vehicles and came across the Exorcist, which is the 2017 Camaro ZL1. And the Exorcist is produced by Hennessy, legendary Hennessy, of course. And this is a 1,000 horsepower car, and this particular car was serial number 1. So it was the first car they made, and this was a car allegedly on that TV show Top Gear, those 3 Brits.
Yep.
And they raced this car against the Demon SRT Hellcat in one of the Top Gear episodes, and I guess the Hellcat won. But this car, this 1,000 horsepower Hennessy, is just off the chain cool. And I had a chance to meet the guy. He's a dealer. He owns a car dealership in Kansas, and it's a Dodge dealership. And he said he found this car, he loved the car, wanted a car, bought the car. And I guess off camera today, you mentioned to me, I think Don researched it, it sold for $209,000. Now, the original car was originally titled by Hennessy himself, but this car is off the chain. And you know, ZL1 Camaros are still bad at the bone, but when you add 1,000 horsepower to it,
ultimate Trans Am racer. I mean, amazing rubber all around. I met an older gentleman not more than 2 weeks ago in a parking lot at Sam's Club. He had just bought a red one with an automatic, and what you forgot was this Exorcist was a manual transmission, which is the way to go.
6-speed.
And they're a $75,000 car. Of course, bring it to Hennessy, and
50 grand to it.
They're going to work their magic. But you know, the original ZL1 is 650 horsepower because the Z06 Corvette engine, a friend of mine has a 2019 Corvette, killer engine.
Right.
You know, killer engine.
Bulletproof.
Killer engine, and you know, very wide stance. But this Exorcist car, if you look it up and see the pictures, I think we're probably going to have some pictures up of it. Just fit and finish, you know, paint, interior, everything, you know, it's interesting when you say, you know, they raced 1,000 horsepower against an 840 horsepower Dodge Demon, and the Demon won. The only reason for that is that the Demon was totally built for a quarter mile.
Yes.
All right. So suspension, the tweaks and whatever, and I had.
Plus they put the race package on there, the big fat tires.
And they give you the little guys for the front.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, you know, I had a 2019 Challenger Scat Pack 1320 model, which was their drag pack car.
Right.
All right. They only made 1,100 of them, and it was a riot because you could pull up to any stop sign, and the display screen was a Christmas tree. And once you pushed this couple of buttons, when you came to a stop, if you put your foot to the floor, it began a quarter mile.
Oh.
So you could go by my house, which you've been. There's lots of straightaways. You could do. That's all I did with the car. Then I did 9,000 miles of quarter miles all around my house.
That's an awful lot of quarter miles.
So I'm sure the Hennessy, where the Hennessy car is really going to shine, in my humble opinion, is way past the quarter mile.
Right.
Okay, and the top end.
The top of 217 miles an hour.
So there you're going.
Yes.
All right. If I was going to take a car to Nuremberg, I would want the Hennessy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the handling on a stock ZL Camaro is amazing, considering its weight. So you could imagine all the suspension tweaks of the Hennessy car.
And I guess this particular car here, they want it to be their premier build, so they put all of their thought and engineering expertise and all that into this particular specific car itself. And the other cars are made similar to it, but this was like the one-off, original, real deal Exorcist. And of course they made the Exorcist to fight the Demon.
Right.
You know, right? Well, yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I think they're well played. Isn't that what they say? Well played, right?
Well done.
And I'll tell you, the owner was a really cool guy. He was really, really a nice man.
But he was selling it.
He was selling it. Yeah.
Okay.
He just wanted to get rid of it.
And you wonder what a regular Camaro ZL1 is. I think it's in the low 70s. 70s, all right, whether it's a manual or automatic. So you wonder what the Hennessy tune turned that into, because they started with a regular ZL1. So then it goes to Hennessy, and
well, they added a supercharger to it, and I don't know what else.
well, they had to have another supercharger because it's already supercharged in the engine.
Right. Well, they did their own.
Yeah, so they did their thing, and you wonder what went on to that 75.
Right.
Whether it was 125, 150, or whatever it was.
Who knows?
But 209, and those of you not familiar with Barrett-Jackson, I believe the buyer's commission is 10%.
Yeah.
So whoever bought it paid
219.
219. All right. No. Yeah. 209. 209. 229.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
All right. And the seller.
I don't remember what commission they paid.
I think it's around it's probably around 8. I think, because they're all no reserve. Because I know that if you want to sell your car on a reserve at Barrett-Jackson, I think, I could be wrong, I think it's 12 to 15%.
Interesting. Yeah.
So you know what's great about Barrett-Jackson, when you get, of course it's an event unto itself. So you know
that tent?
Yeah.
From start to finish is 1 mile long.
Yeah, because
it's crazy.
Once I get through the tent, and you go outside.
Acres and acres of cars outside.
Well, even before that, when you walk outside where all the food is and all the other vendors, and you walk through there, I think we were at the 4-hour mark. And I'm an old guy. And then there were 6 more tents if you wanted to go look at the cars. So we ended up going back.
It was nuts, wasn't it?
And sitting in the audience watching the auction, where we saw a consignor, a guy had his car there, get sold for $125,000 more than what he was looking for.
Isn't it amazing?
So we were beat. After that, and thank God with the immediate pass, we walked out of the tent, got in our car and left, as opposed to walking and taking buses and stuff like that.
Right.
But the auction part of it, amazing television coverage. Check your cable listings for a channel called FYI. There's a bunch of great car shows on there. I know not all the cable providers have it, but I must say this about Barrett-Jackson and FYI. I believe I have probably 24 hours of recording saved, because I recorded the whole thing.
That's cool.
And I believe they were doing every day.
And the auction started officially on Monday.
Yeah, and I believe every day. And the great thing, Barrett-Jackson, as much as I love them, the one thing that I always had a bone to pick with them is it was always the super premium highest end of highest end. And what I've noticed, and you correct me if I'm wrong,
hello?
Now sorry about that.
It's okay.
Now you'll go, and depending upon the day, you will see the $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 car. Look what I saw, $25,000. Okay, on a Thursday. All right, amazing car. I would have bought that on my credit card.
Yeah.
So now, when you get past the whole eventness of it, and you get down to the meat and potatoes of the auction, they have much better television coverage for those people that can't make it.
Right.
On FYI, Meekum, which we're going to be going to
coming up here in March.
Great, we're going to have a ball.
Yeah.
It's at the State Farm Arena.
Matter of fact, I've got to look at the Meekum consignor list to identify some of the cars that we're going to be watching here, muscle cars there. And that brings up something. What kind of car do you guys want me to video next? Do you want me to video an old school Dodge Dart? Maybe a Mustang? Maybe a whatever? Let me know in the comments. And Richie, that brings up something with you. We're going to be at Meekum.
Yes.
And dude, I have to digress a moment. Yesterday I was at the Fountains Concourse.
Yes, you mentioned.
You'll never believe whose car was there. Nancy frickin' Sinatra's 1968 pink Pontiac Firebird.
Wow, boots are made for walking.
And that's just what they'll do. And I'll tell you what, I actually got to sit in her driver's seat where Nancy Sinatra's butt was. I shot some video, shot some film. The owner of that car is the coolest, most gracious man you'd ever want to meet. And the car is actually validated to be her car because her sister verified the fact that it was in fact her car.
Right.
And he's working on getting a glove box up to her in Vegas to have her sign off on it. So now we'll have the real deal autographed car, but that was amazing. So back to, though, I mean, obviously muscle cars are there. I shoot muscle cars. I like muscle cars.
Sure.
I grew up in the muscle car era.
Yeah.
What kind of muscle car do you think would be cool for us to start like eyeballing here?
You know what? You've explained to me in detail, because he's the professional here. I'm just the tag along guy. All right. And he says that all of you guys just love, these $300,000 things that you're never going to drive because you get a rock.
Now, I know I like going after big money cars because they're rare, but I've also shot video of some really cool, obtuse muscle cars that you normally wouldn't find. So that's what I was wondering what.
Yeah, well, that's what I think the greatest thing about being in Arizona is we have the Barrett Jackson auction and we have the Mecum auction.
Mm-hmm.
The Mecum auction is not catching up dollar-wise, okay? If you compare, I think it was $217 million last year for Barrett Jackson and $67 million for Mecum, up from 30, I believe, the year before. Now, Mecum's got, I think, 1,900 cars for March, which is big. And this is coming after $200 million worth of cars being sold.
The folks at Mecum, and David, I appreciate you. They're one of the most warm, engaging, helpful people ever. I mean, I came to this guy. This guy's in charge of all their media.
Right.
And I came to him with a list of cars. He had directed me to 2 people on the floor, and they put me in the direction of the cars. And the cool thing about that is that the cars are open. So they allow you to go inside the car. They want the buyers to get inside the car. And last year, I sat inside a 1960, I think it's a 65 Ferrari.
Oh, that's
275 GTB, 12-cylinder. It sold for $3.3 million.
Excuse me.
And I was in, and I was in that car, man. And those people at Mecum are awesome. And you mentioned Mecum and Barrett Jackson, but also, I don't know if you've seen the local car show scene around here, but dude, I'll tell you what, man. Saturday night they have things going on in Mixteca. Friday night
this is
all over the place.
This is something.
Not to mention just the auctions. So I was wondering, in general terms,
I think.
What do you think would be the coolest car I could shoot for you?
I love the.
I want to shoot a video for you. What's your car?
I love the big money stuff. Like I said, I was blown away to see my year Aston Martin. Okay. Because there was a 2006 Aston Martin V8 Vantage on Bring a Trailer, which is a big car selling site, and it had 3,000 miles on it. And it was British Racing Green, monotone paint, and buckskin interior, and it was absolutely perfect, and it sold for over $80,000. That was one. But again, when I look at all these cars, that Ferrari you're talking about, this is the kind of stuff that these people don't drive them. They can't, so I like the driver quality stuff.
Right.
As you know, I just bought my truck, right? 2017. I ordered a brand new one. It got lost in Mexico. So I bought this one, 2017. And you know something? I've only had it for whatever, like 6 weeks, and I'm touching up the rock chips. And I would have been doing it to the $45,000 one, but it doesn't hurt as much with this one, right? So when I look at your Mustang, which is super cool, well, you can bang it out. You want to go for a drive, you go for a drive.
Yeah.
I found myself after moving here, I had the Challenger, so I beat that to death. Then I had a Jaguar, which was a garage queen.
When you and I met, when you had your Jag.
I had my Jaguar. Then I bought a Mini Cooper, John Cooper Works, and it was a garage queen. And I said, I got to get out of this. I got to get something I'm going to drive. So
what would be the muscle car you would drive?
You
want me to video?
Well, I think they can all qualify, no matter what they are.
He doesn't want to be pinned down.
No, the problem. This is the problem, is that you'll see. Let's say I had in 2003, I had a 1968 Hemi Roadrunner, Galen Govier, book, automatic on the column, bench sheet, radio heated delete, numbers matching, dog dish. Okay.
Cool.
The guy who used to tune it for me said, you can't step on this thing. He says, because if you blow it up, it's worthless. It's numbers matching. I couldn't steer. I couldn't stop. I couldn't turn. Okay, so when you look at now, and it was pristine.
Right, of course.
So now you go find a 68 Hemi Roadrunner, a driver.
Right.
Let's say.
Right.
Oh, now.
Not numbers matching.
Yeah, but now it's, they're only original ones. So now it's like, if it wasn't numbers matching and it was in mint condition, it's big money. Okay?
Yeah.
So where are the cars that are super cool, okay, that are fun to drive, and we saw at, I think it was Meekum and Kissimmee, all these Fox body Mustangs.
Right.
There was a collection of them.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, this guy.
Roush collection we saw
Yeah, but
several years ago.
this old couple had their 2,000 miles, 3,000. They were pristine. 5 speeds, manual. What'd they sell for? 25 grand, 26 grand,
Right.
22,000, 29. Okay, ready for touch-up paint. Let's go. You know.
You mentioned that rotisserie stuff, and people are like really crazy about that. There was a, I think it was a 1972 Olds 442 W30 car.
Yep.
Very rare car, right?
Yeah, W30, hand-built engines.
Yes, it was. This was orange with the black interior. It was convertible, and I had a chance to meet the owner who was sitting there at Barrett Jackson. I said, "Hey, can I interview your car? Or I mean, video your car?" And I did. It was great. It's going to be uploaded on the channel here shortly. But we got to talking about the car, and he's like, I said, "Why are you getting rid of it?" He said, "Because I want something I can drive." He said, "I'm so afraid of scratching this car." So he said, "I'm going to build a resto mod and drive the shit out of it."
Yeah,
like,
well
good for you.
That remains to be seen, because now you'll see resto mods be getting more money than its counterpart.
Right.
All right, as if it was totally restored.
But what you're saying makes sense.
I understand that. Where are you going in a 67? I think it was Jay Leno he had a 67 Shelby GT350.
Right.
And then he had the new one.
Right.
The 2017 GT. Right. So he drives the new one, and it's a race car. It's a road GT350R.
Yep.
And then he gets in his 67. Then he gets in his 67 one, and he goes, "This is such a terrible car."
Yeah, it's just a collector car.
Okay, so
I mean, back in the day they were state of the art, but now that's 40 years ago.
Well, you know something. You go back. I had, when I was in college, I had a 1969. We talked about this great Camaro. I had a 69 Z28 Camaro. All right, manual. It had the dealer installed cross ram manifold.
Oh, sure, yeah.
2 4-barrels.
Yeah.
All right, silver, black stripes. I took it to college. I took it to community college. Drove it all the time. And 290 horsepower. I guess with the manifold, maybe it was 3 1/4 or whatever. High winding engine. But I remember going out to the parking lot. Somebody ding my door and say, "Now it's $100,000 car."
I know, it's crazy.
Okay.
I know it's not.
So, and as good as that car was, you get in that Mini Cooper I had, man. That thing would handle circles around that Camaro.
You know what? I'm going to pick a car for him. Because he's dancing around this topic of the car, he won't be pinned down. It's like trying to pin Jello on the wall.
Well, I'll give you a choice.
How about allegedly the first muscle car out there was the Chrysler 300F model.
What, the 300 series, like
300
the
series.
1959, 60, the big wing cars.
Yeah, big wing cars, yeah.
Well, think about what we just touched on.
Yeah.
Earlier today, a 340 Duster.
Right.
I saw a stock one, yellow, manual, absolutely perfect, like in a time capsule.
Right.
No reserve, Barrett Jack, $20,000.
Exactly.
I saw at Meekum in Kissimmee, blue, perfect, $60,000. That's a 2-year difference, okay? So when you think of that car, everybody thinks of Cudas and Challengers and Chargers. That 340 Duster, or what about the 1970 TA Challenger or AAR Cuda that was made for Trans Am racing, 340 tri-power, 290 horsepower.
What about the Javelin? Same thing.
Well, now they're coming. They used to be the junk box city.
They did. Now they're just like
$100,000
through the roof in these cars. Well, you don't see them anywhere.
Well,
there's a couple of them around here that have the chameleon green paint on there, which is purple on one side, green, blue. I mean, it's just a gorgeous car. They've outdone themselves on a car.
But I think it comes down to usability, all right?
Exactly.
And what are you going to get to drive, okay? And you know, I vacationed for many years in this little island called the Isle of Man.
The motorcycle people.
It's a motorcycle haven. If you don't know, look it up. It's incredible. But they have a Mealy May road race. Where everybody gets out on races, all their old cars. So we were sitting there one year watching, and what comes pulling it? It's a 1950-something Bugatti. With like the original owner, he was 90, and my friend says, "Oh, that's $1 million car." It's beat to death. He races this car, all right, and what goes past us is a something Vincent motorcycle, 100,000, original guy, kickstart, beat up, dented tank. So there are people out there
that drive them.
That drive these things.
One of my clients actually has a beautiful 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner convertible.
Okay.
And it's one of 3 left in the country. And it's Don Petty with the Don Petty collection. He's a cousin of Richard Petty. You know, this guy's got a big, huge ass collection. Matter of fact, quick story, he bought 200 cars from this guy who was selling his collection just to get that 1969 Roadrunner convertible. He had to buy 200 cars. Of course, he sold them and whatnot.
Right.
But we took the car out for, he lives in downtown Phoenix area in the wintertime, in the summertime. He lives up in Prescott. But we were down there in his property, went up to some really cool area to get some video and photo shoots. And after we're all done, he said, hang on. I'm like, all right. And he started scorching them fucking tires.
Well,
excuse my language, scorching them tires. Well, he drives it. I was like, how often do you drive it? I drive this car every week. And he said, I drive all my cars every week.
Yeah, well, that's
what I have. I have them to drive them.
I mean, if you got all that dough, and then somebody, you know, it's got to be less money to fix a 1967 Impala that gets smashed with a shopping cart than it does for your Resto Mod super duper, you know, popcorn
all
maker, you know, with
stuff in it,
you know, all this, you know, House of Colors, you know, all that stuff. So it's still a Chevy.
Right.
Okay, it's one thing like when somebody
as opposed to McLaren,
when somebody
or Bentley or
somebody took a hammer to my Aston Martin right above the headlight. It was a you know, a vandalism thing.
Of course,
It was sitting in a driveway, a hammer. It was $15,000. The headlight was $4,000. Okay, just a headlight. All right. So when I think of these, even when I see a totally restored Chevy Impala 409 or a Dodge or whatever, and they're restored to factory standards, right? So it's the factory B5 blue. Fine, good. You get wrapped. It's the same $600 to fix it. It's not a big deal, okay? And I think that's where a lot of these guys, and I never understood the guys with all the dough, because you got the ability to take out that Ferrari and something happens to it. What are you going to complain about? 50 grand to fix something?
Right.
Okay.
Well, money to them it's a different playing field that they're playing on.
Yeah, but most of them, it's like, look what I got. It's like collecting bronzes.
Exactly.
But these are machines, you know. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens now.
How about a 1969 Plymouth Barracuda SJ?
So that's
with the 440 Super Commander, the race car.
And that's the before the pony car. That's before they changed it to the Cudas and everything. Those are interesting cars. Remember Hemi Under Glass? Yeah. All right, down the racetrack, right?
That's the same body style.
And every now and again you'll see one that's very respectable, really nice engine, really nice fit and finish, really nice job of restoration, but maybe it would sell for $50,000 and you're driving it.
Coming up soon, 1969 Plymouth Barracuda, one of the coolest fish on the market right now. A 440 Super Commander SJ Plymouth Barracuda. Stick around for more. Hey guys, thanks for watching the last video. I hand selected a couple videos for you to watch right now. Click here.